The next stage in our Death Star restoration involves orange trash compactors, planetary death cannons, and foam.
Into the garbage, you flyboy!
One of the most frustrating pieces to source for the Death Star playset is an intact top cannon, the planetary cannon that destroyed Alderaan. I have here the one that came from my broken up Death Star in 1987, and as you'll notice, it has a number of pieces that are all, well, detached from one another, and the reason that is because I took it apart. This piece is screwed together, and so you can actually disassemble it, which is useful in some instances, but not in others. This is the pivot piece that would attach the cannon to the mounting plate on the floor of the Death Star playset. Now, unfortunately, this one is broken in 3 places. There are pegs that I'll show you in close-up that are broken, and then there is the attachment peg. Now, I'll show you an intact cannon. It has a long attachment peg that slots into the mounting turret. Now this one, as you can see, that piece is broken off. And this cannon also has the pivot points, the pivot posts, intact inside, whereas this cannon did not. The reason that I disassembled this was because I wanted to salvage the barrel of this cannon and replace it onto this cannon housing, because as you can see, this cannon has an upswept barrel. They gave this barrel some play, so I had hoped to swap them. Unfortunately, when I disassembled this cannon, this barrel's slot attachment point was broken in half, and so this will not do as a replacement. So maybe one day I'll find a cannon that's otherwise broken and get a good barrel from it, but we'll live with this right now. It's fine for our purpose. Now, one thing to note. You're going to find a lot of cannons online, and they're going to say that they're intact. They're going to say that both barrels are intact. Well, you'll only get, most of the time, up to here on this lower barrel, which is a static piece. You'll notice on this one, that barrel's completely sheared off. And as a kid, I didn't even notice. I didn't even know that that part was broken. I thought it was just designed that way. Well, this barrel actually has 2 lengths of extension. So most of the time, this piece will be intact, and they'll say, oh, lower barrel intact. No, you also need this piece as well, and a lot of them don't have that anymore. So let's attach this to our Death Star. I don't generally display this with it snapped into place. I try and kind of leave it the way it is. I know that that's not very graceful, but what you're doing in allowing it to sit like this, or maybe put a support point right here to keep it propped up, is that you're not allowing that mechanism to sit under constant tension, which is what ended up breaking so many of them when we were kids. This whole assembly isn't constructed very well. It's not durable. So for my purposes, just having an intact cannon is all that I need. So I'm just going to let this cannon sit gently right here until I find a way to prop it up without actually engaging the mechanism. The trash compactor is pretty straightforward. It does have a number of pieces. What I found out as a kid was my trash compactor, much like the rest of my Death Star, was sadly bare bones. You could tell that the former owner put a piece of tape over to try and hold the actual body of it together because it shattered. It had a broken peg on the door frame so the door wouldn't stay on. And he did have the turn screw and the moving wall, but he didn't have the retaining, the threaded cap that allows it to sit in place. So I would just have to move this thing back and forth randomly. I never understood why they made this orange. You know, the rest of the Death Star is grays and, you know, some spacey blues, and this thing is just, it's bright orange. It's like there was someone from the Kenner design team who went to Syracuse and was just like, it's got to be orange and blue. Anyway, all right, so what I had to do was, you know, just accept that this trash compactor was a total loss. So this is going to go to some customizer for free. This trash compactor and this trash compactor were my other 2 options in my pile of parts. This one, as you can see, has the door. It has the threaded cap. It's got the screw mounting with the wall that moves, but it's missing two more crucial pieces. It's missing the clear plastic paneling that keeps everything inside the trash compactor. So here is a fully assembled and complete trash compactor. It's been somewhat cleaned up. It's got your clear plastic on both sides. It's very important. It's got a intact and uncracked threaded screw attachment. It's got a nice door on the front. It's got a few scuff marks, but it's a used piece. We're almost ready to put this into the Death Star, but I have one more piece that's really tough, and I wanted to explain that to you. The foam, the trash foam that came with the Kenner playset in multiple colors that was used to simulate the trash in the compactor. I'm not convinced that all of this foam that I was given is original, but I do think a lot of it is. The blue, especially in some of this darker yellow, is original. And it's amazing that it's intact. I leave it in a Ziploc bag. It came randomly with the pile of parts that I got from one lot. I didn't expect it to be in there, but there it was. Most of this foam deteriorates and disintegrates just like the Dagobah playset Swamp. Collectors of loose Star Wars aren't very serious, not serious, that's not the right word. They're not very stringent about these foam pieces being intact because time will destroy all of them, whether they're in or out of a box. So what a lot of people do is they'll go to Michael's or another craft store and they'll buy foam, or they'll find packing foam that they got from another shipment, and they'll cut it into cubes. And if you can find the multicolored stuff, the blue, dark blue, and the yellow, and this just neutral color, then you've pretty much got it nailed. I'm keeping this in the Ziploc, and I just tuck it away right here because I'm not really going to be doing much with it, so I just gently keep it right there. This is supposed to sit in between here and then face inward. So let's see if we can set this down properly. First thing I'm going to do to be smart is I'm going to take this cannon off and set it to the side so it doesn't go plummeting to the ground. Alright, let's try this now. That's it. It's in the rails. That's essentially what it looks like when it's inside the playset. And as you can see, the door can come down. And you have your trash compactor inside. And there's also a trap door above so that your figures can go falling into the trash compactor from above in the detention cell. We're on the home stretch, one more entry in this series and we'll be done. The next step is the last step, the finer details. That's going to involve the cardboard inserts that face the outside. That's going to involve the trash monster. That's going to involve some decals and one extra crucial piece. So I'll see you on the next and last Death Star restoration episode.